So I don't know if people are familiar with the term mutual fund, but mutual funds you can accumulate inside of your IRA, but you can't put IRAs in mutual funds. And the difference between mutual funds and stocks, so to speak, imagine you're a company, right? We'll just use Adidas because everybody knows I fuck with the three stripes. I don't fuck with the checks. So imagine you're Adidas and you got 100% of your money in Adidas, and for whatever reason, Adidas goes under and that shit goes bankrupt and it ain't worth shit no more. That's kind of like what a stock is. You put all your money in one place, that shit goes up, that shit goes down. You're gonna feel all the effects of that. A mutual fund is, imagine you still got investments in Adidas, right? But instead of buying Adidas directly, you would buy like a mall. I don't know what fucking mall y'all got around y'all, but imagine whatever mall you got in your area, you buy a fucking mall. And Adidas is one store in that mall. So, same scenario. If Adidas was like, yo, I ain't got no money no more, I'm going bankrupt, you know what I mean? You're not going to lose all your money. You're just going to lose that percentage of that money for that storefront. But you got 20 other stores, right? So now you're down to 19 stores, and then you just get another store and take in the spot that Adidas was leasing. You see this shit all the time. One store goes down, another store comes up, no big deal. That's kind of like what a mutual fund is. So, in my opinion, mutual funds are safer than stocks, but you're going to make that quick money. You know what I mean? You're going to see the most influx in your pay if you have stocks, obviously, in terms of percentages. But it could be all good, it could be all bad. I have both. I dabbled in the stock market, especially during the big crash from COVID and shit. Um, People were like, "Yo, if you listen to the like financial advisors, like I listen to Dave Ramsey a lot. So if you listen to Dave Ramsey, he'll tell you, yeah, man, the stock market's on sale. Go ahead and get you some." And in a way, it's kind of true. Like it was at a low. The people that had money in the stock market, you don't necessarily lose money until you take money out. So you just wait for it to get back up, and then you just break even. But at that dip, that's when you buy low, sell high. Everybody's heard of that shit. So in the dip, that's when I started dabbling more in individual stocks. Now let's go back to me saying I'm an impulsive person, right? So I didn't do all the research that I probably should have did before I started buying stocks. I lost a lot of money in individual stocks, but I gained knowledge. So it's a win-win. Well, it's not a win-win because everybody wants money. But at least I gained the knowledge, so I know now where I fucked up and what to do in the future. So let's jump into IRAs, right? My IRA that I got, it has a commission fee. Not all IRAs have commission fees, but mine does, and I think it's like $20 to $30 or some shit like that. And they call it like a custodian fee. I don't know what percentage that is and how it all works with different ones, but that's what mine is. I don't have a financial advisor. Some different IRA and mutual funds companies and shit like that. Some of them do have financial advisors, but um they require a bigger like commission fee. It's not a bad road to go. Like if you don't know a lot about what it is that you're doing, I would advise getting you a financial advisor. Or if you don't want to do your research. If you want to do the research, then by all means don't get one. But the biggest thing is just to save. And that's something that is not really talked about a lot um amongst the youth, and particularly the black community. because I'm black, so I can only really speak from my perspective. I wish people in the black community knew a little more about money than what they do, but they don't. And I can't really blame them. It's just something that's not taught. I feel like you really should teach this shit in school, but they want to teach us about fucking, random ass calculus and shit like that, shit that we not going to use. Like, they need to teach us real life situations. But I digress. That's that. So yeah, I got I got my Roth IRA in 2015, and I think on average I've made between uh 10 and 15%, something like that. Um and I want to say the average IRA, I think makes between 7 and 10 if you don't really do anything with it, because it's just like anything else. You got to watch it because shit's always changing. You got to be active if you want to get the most out of it. Now, if you just want to set it and forget it like a crock pot, I mean, you still make money. Don't get me wrong, but if you want to make the most out of it, you gotta be active. And once I realized that this was the direction that I was going to go with this episode, I actually took my own advice because I haven't been looking at my shit. And I was like, okay, maybe I should move some shit around and uh and try to get a little more for what it's worth. So I was moving shit around, and I think that I could potentially get maybe 20%, hopefully, with the shit that I did. Uh a little more about IRAs. I think the max you can put in an IRA right now is $6,000 a year. So it's not something that you can just load up on, kind of like a savings account. You gotta pace it out. So what I do is I break it down for I do 6,000 divided by 12, and then I just pay that shit every month. Whatever the fuck that is. I don't even know what it is. Shit comes in my account, then it goes out. I don't fucking know. But that's what I do. And that's only for that particular account. And from what I think, I'm not too sure. You might want to look this up, but from what I think, you can have multiple accounts. It's just that one particular account can only max out at $6,000. I don't have multiple accounts because I'm fucking broke. So just me, just me dedicating that much money to one place is enough for me. But once I, make a little more money, you know what I mean, and this podcast take off, and maybe I'll get a couple more accounts or some shit. But for now, I'll just roll with the one. And then people will say, okay, so IRAs, all right, mutual funds, cool, cool. But what about savings accounts, man? I just put my money in a savings account. I mean, that's not terrible to put your money in a savings account, but you're not making no money on that. You're making less than 1%. Like, you talking about like 0.01, 0.02, 0.03% on your money. Like, that's nothing. You ain't making shit. And then on top of that, if you want to take money out of that shit, they gonna fine you. Why do they fine you? You're like, oh, it's my money. I do what I want. Nah. The reason why they fine you is because the banks take your money and they go invest it like you should have. Because you didn't do it, they're gonna do it for you. And they're gonna give you some pennies on the back end. Now, remember what I just told you. I've been averaging, 10, 15% so far with my IRAs. I started, 5 years ago? And they giving you 0.01, 0.02 of your money. Sounds like you getting the shaft, my friend.